My boyfriend smashed my face into our $400 birthday cake, sprayed champagne up my nose, then shattered my phone because I asked him not to. And his sister filmed the whole thing for evidence. That's when I decided to call 911 on my own birthday party. My boyfriend Marcus, M39, and I, F34, celebrate our birthdays together every year because we were born 6 days apart. This year, I rented a private speakeasy bar underneath a jazz club. I invited 16 people, 6 of my CrossFit teammates, 9 of his co-workers from his pharmaceutical sales team, and his older sister, Lena. I wanted to celebrate being promoted to regional director of my division. I paid for the entire venue rental and a premium whiskey tasting package for the table. Marcus agreed to cover the late-night food platters and the champagne tower. We had problems last year when he forgot my birthday entirely and then got angry that I reminded him. I bought him a weekend in a mountain cabin. He gave me a half-empty bottle of perfume he took from his mother's house. I let it go. This year, he seemed excited. He ordered a 2-tier Black Forest cake with gold leaf. He bought me a weighted blanket, which I actually wanted because I have trouble sleeping. He invited everyone through a WhatsApp group he made called the Double Birthday Bash. I got my nails done in dark green matte. I wore a velvet jumpsuit with a low back. I spent 3 hours on my hair, a slick back ponytail with crystals glued along the part. The speakeasy had a small stage with a vintage microphone. The photographer positioned us in front of the cake. I held the cake. Marcus put his hand on my lower back. I smiled. He whispered, "Don't drop it." Then he grabbed the back of my ponytail and yanked downward. My forehead hit the cake. I screamed into the frosting. He pushed harder. The cake collapsed. I swung my arm back and caught him across the jaw with my elbow. He staggered. His co-workers laughed. His sister Lena clapped and said, "That's what you get, dumbass." I stood up. Frosting dripped off my chin onto my velvet jumpsuit. My ponytail was destroyed. Crystals were embedded in my scalp. I said, "What the hell is wrong with you?" Marcus said, "It's a birthday smash, baby. Relax." I said, "I told you last year I hate that. I told you explicitly." He said, "You're being dramatic. Everyone does this." I picked up a handful of cake and threw it at his face. It hit his cheek and stuck. His co-workers went silent. Lena laughed harder. Marcus wiped his face slowly. His expression changed. He said, "You just made a huge mistake." I said, "No, you did." He grabbed a champagne bottle from the tower. He shook it and pointed it at me. His co-worker Derek yelled, "Don't do it, man." Marcus sprayed me directly in the face. Champagne went up my nose and into my eyes. I couldn't see. I stumbled backward into the cake table. The entire second tier fell onto the floor. Glass shattered. I screamed, "You absolute child." He screamed back, "You threw cake at me first." I said, "You slammed my head into it." He said, "It was a joke. You ruined the champagne tower." I wiped champagne from my eyes. My makeup was destroyed. My jumpsuit was soaked. I looked at his co-workers. They were staring at the floor. His sister Lena was filming on her phone. I said, "Are you filming this?" Lena said, "For evidence when you inevitably lie about what happened." I said, "Give me your phone." She said, "No." I walked toward her. She backed up. Marcus stepped between us. He said, "Don't touch my sister." I said, "I'm not going to touch her. I'm going to take my phone out and call the police because you just assaulted me in front of 16 witnesses." Marcus laughed. "Call the police for champagne? You're insane." I pulled out my phone. I dialed 911. I put it on speaker. The operator said, "What's your emergency?" I said, "I'm at a private event at the basement on 4th Street. A man just grabbed my head and shoved it into a cake, then sprayed champagne in my face. I want to press charges for assault." Marcus grabbed my phone and threw it across the room. It hit the brick wall and shattered. I looked at his coworker Derek. I said, "You just witnessed him destroy my property." Derek said, "I'm not getting involved." I said, "You're already involved. You're a witness." Marcus's other coworker, a woman named Priya, stood up. She said, "Marcus, that was too far. You need to pay for her phone." Marcus said, "Stay out of this, Priya." Priya said, "No, I've seen you do this before. At the holiday party with your ex." Marcus turned red. He said, "You're fired. I'm telling HR you made a false accusation." Priya laughed. "I quit yesterday. You have no power here." I said, "Priya, can I use your phone?" She handed it to me. I called 911 again. This time I didn't use speaker. I walked to the bathroom and locked the door. I gave the operator the address, Marcus's full name, and a description of what happened. I said he destroyed my phone and that I was trapped in a bathroom. The operator said, "Do not open the door. Officers are en route." I heard Marcus pounding on the bathroom door. He said, "Open this door right now." I said, "Police are coming." He said, "You called the police on me? On my birthday?" I said, "It's also my birthday, you absolute nightmare." He said, "I'm going to tell them you attacked me first. You threw cake and elbowed me." I said, "I have 16 witnesses. Your sister filmed it." He went quiet. Then he said, "Lena, delete that video." Lena said, "No, she's crazy. I need proof." Marcus said, "Delete it or I'm telling mom about the credit card debt." Lena said, "You wouldn't." Marcus said, "Try me." I heard Lena say something muffled. Then she yelled, "Fine." I heard a phone being slammed on a table. The police arrived 7 minutes later. 2 officers, 1 male and 1 female. The female officer knocked on the bathroom door. I opened it. She looked looked at my champagne-soaked jumpsuit, the frosting in my hair, the crystals stuck to my face. She said, "Ma'am, are you injured?" I said. He grabbed me by the hair and shoved my head into a cake. Then he sprayed champagne in my eyes. Then he threw my phone and broke it. She looked at Marcus. He pulled out his wallet. He handed over his license. The officer wrote down his information. She said, "Ms. Chun, do you want to press charges?" I looked at Marcus. His eyes were wet. He said, "Please don't. I'll pay for everything. I'll buy you a new phone. I'll never do anything like this again." I said, "You said that last year when you forgot my birthday and gave me stolen perfume." He said, "I mean it this time." I said, "No, you don't. You mean it until the next time you get embarrassed in front of people." I turned to the officer. I said, "Yes, I want to press charges." Marcus said, "You're destroying my career. I work in pharmaceuticals. A domestic violence charge will end me." I said, "You should have thought about that before you put your hands on me." The male officer handcuffed Marcus. His co-workers watched in silence. His sister Lena started crying. She said, "You're a monster. He was going to propose to you next month." I said, "He was going to propose with what?" "His mother's stolen ring." Lena said, "I hate you." I said, "Good. Tell your brother I want the money for my phone by Monday, or I'm adding destruction of property to the charges." They took Marcus out in the police car. I stood on the sidewalk with champagne still drying in my hair. My CrossFit teammates showed up. They had been waiting outside because they saw the police arrive. My friend Tessa said, "We saw everything through the window. We have footage from 3 different angles." I said, "Save it. I'm going to need it." Tessa drove me home. I showered for 45 minutes. I still had crystals in my scalp. I had to cut out 3 of them with scissors. The first week, Marcus's lawyer called me. His name was Howard. He sounded like he was chewing food while he talked. He said, "My client is willing to pay for your phone and the dry cleaning for your jumpsuit in exchange for you dropping the charges." I said, "No." Howard said, "Ms. Chun, this is a misdemeanor at best. You're going to waste the court's time over a birthday prank." I said. He grabbed me by the hair and shoved my face into a cake. Then he sprayed champagne in my eyes. Then he destroyed my phone. That's 3 separate charges. I'm not dropping anything. Howard said, "My client says you threw the first cake." I said, "I threw cake after he already committed assault. That's self-defense, not provocation." Howard said, "The video evidence is unclear." I said, "I have 3 videos. One from my friend Tessa outside the window. One from my friend Marcus number 2, who is a different Marcus and very confused about the name situation. And one from the bartender who thought the whole thing was hilarious and recorded it for TikTok. Which video would you like to see?" Howard went quiet. Then he said, "I'll have my client's sister send the footage she took." I said, "His sister deleted that footage because he blackmailed her about credit card debt. But don't worry, I have a screenshot of her admitting that to the police officer. It's in the police report." Howard said, "I'll call you back." He did not call me back. The second week, Marcus's mother called me. Her name was Dorothy. She left a voicemail. She said, "Sweetheart, I know my son can be a handful, but he doesn't have a violent bone in his body. He was just trying to be funny. Can we please have coffee and talk about this like women?" I texted her back, "Dorothy, your son has a violent bone in every part of his body. He grabbed me by the hair. He sprayed champagne in my face. He threw my phone. If you think that's funny, you need a neurologist." She replied, "You're a cruel person. He bought you a weighted blanket." I replied, "A weighted blanket doesn't excuse assault. Tell him to hire a better lawyer." She replied, "I'm praying for you." I replied, "Pray for him. He's the one with the court date." The third week, Marcus was arraigned. He pled not guilty. The judge set a pretrial date for 6 weeks out. Marcus was released on his own recognizance. He immediately posted on Instagram. He wrote, "False accusations ruin lives. I'm fighting for my name. Justice will prevail." He tagged me in the post. I screenshot it. I sent it to my lawyer. My lawyer said, "That's witness intimidation and harassment. Do you want to file a motion?" I said yes. My lawyer filed a motion for a protective order. Marcus was served the next day. He deleted the Instagram post, but not before my friend Tessa had already reposted it with the caption, "This man grabbed his girlfriend by the hair and slammed her face into a cake. Then he sprayed champagne in her eyes. Then he broke her phone." False accusations. Sure, buddy. Marcus's sister Lena commented on Tessa's post. She wrote, "You don't know the whole story. She's a liar and a manipulator." Tessa replied, "I watched the whole thing through a window. I have video. Want to see it?" Lena did not reply. The fourth week, Marcus showed up at my CrossFit gym. I was in the middle of a deadlift. I had 185 pounds on the bar. He walked up to me and said, "We need to talk." I set the bar down. I said, "You have a protective order. You can't be within 100 feet of me." He said, "I'm not here to hurt you. I'm here to apologize." I said, "Then apologize. You have 30 seconds before I call the police." He looked around. Other people in the gym were staring. He said, "I'm sorry I grabbed your hair. I'm sorry about the champagne. I'm sorry about the phone. I was drunk and stupid." I said, "You weren't drunk. You had 1 glass of whiskey the entire night. I watched you." He said, "Okay, I wasn't drunk. I was angry." angry because you embarrassed me in front of my coworkers. I said, I embarrassed you? You slammed my face into a cake. He said, you threw cake at me first. I said, the protective order says you can't contact me. You're contacting me right now. He said, I'm trying to fix this. I said, the only way to fix this is to plead guilty, pay for my phone, pay for my jumpsuit, pay for my therapy, and never speak to me again. He said, that's extortion. I said, that's consequences. Now leave before I add violation of protective order to the charges. He left. I finished my deadlifts. I hit a new personal record, 205 pounds. I'll take a quick break here to remind you, don't forget to like and subscribe. Let us know in the comments if you're enjoying the story, and tell us if something like this has ever happened to you. I posted a video of the lift on Instagram with the caption, new PR. Also, my ex showed up at the gym in violation of a protective order. So that's cool. Marcus's lawyer Howard called my lawyer. Howard said my Instagram post was defamation. My lawyer said it was a factual statement about a public event. Howard said they would sue for emotional distress. My lawyer said, your client caused the emotional distress. Good luck with that. The 5th week, Marcus's pharmaceutical company fired him. The official reason was restructuring. But Priya sent me a screenshot of an internal email that said, Marcus Delgado is no longer with the company due to conduct inconsistent with our values. I sent the screenshot to my friend Tessa. Tessa posted it on her Instagram story. Within 24 hours, it was on 4 different gossip accounts. Marcus's sister Lena went live on TikTok. She was crying. She said, my brother lost his job because of a lie. A woman lied about him and destroyed his career. This is what false accusations do to men. I went live on TikTok at the same time. I had 200 viewers. Lena had 1,500. I said, I have video evidence. If anyone wants to see what actually happened, message me and I'll send it to you. Within 10 minutes, Lena's live chat was filled with people saying, send the video. Lena ended her live. I sent the video to a TikTok drama account with 500,000 followers. They posted it. The caption was, man grabs girlfriend's hair, slams face into cake, sprays champagne, breaks phone, then cries about false accusations. The video got 2 million views in 48 hours. The 6th week, Marcus's mother Dorothy showed up at my apartment building. The doorman called up. He said, there's an older woman here asking for you. She says she's your boyfriend's mother. I said, she's not my anything. Don't let her in. The doorman said, she's crying. I said, I don't care. I watched the security camera feed. Dorothy was standing in the lobby with a rosary in her hands. She was crying. She looked up at the camera. She knew I was watching. She crossed herself and left. She left an envelope with the doorman. He brought it up. Inside was a check for $1,200. A note said, for the phone and the jumpsuit. Please stop posting about my son. He has nothing left. I cashed the check. I did not stop posting. The 7th week, Marcus pled guilty to 1 count of misdemeanor assault. He was sentenced to 40 hours of community service, a $500 fine, and 1 year of probation. He was ordered to have no contact with me for 2 years. Outside the courthouse, reporters were waiting. Someone had tipped them off. Marcus tried to hide behind his lawyer. I walked out behind him. A reporter asked me, are you satisfied with the outcome? I said. He grabbed me by the hair and slammed my face into a cake. Then he sprayed champagne in my eyes. Then he broke my phone. He pled guilty to a misdemeanor. No, I'm not satisfied, but it's something. A reporter asked Marcus, do you have anything to say to Ms. Chen? Marcus said, I already apologized. I said, no, you didn't. You apologized for being drunk and stupid, even though you weren't drunk. That's not an apology. Marcus said, I'm sorry I hurt you. Are you happy now? I said, I'll be happy when I never have to see your face again. I walked away. That night, Lena posted a final video. She was sitting in her car. She said, my family has been destroyed by a vindictive woman who couldn't take a joke. My brother lost his job. My mother is on medication. I lost my engagement because of her. I hope she's proud of herself. I commented on the video. I said, you lost your engagement because you lied and called me a gold digger to your fiancé. I just sent him the truth. The truth is not my fault. Tell your brother to stop grabbing women by the hair. Lena deleted the video within an hour. The 8th week, I got a letter in the mail. No return address. Inside was a single page. It said, you won. I have nothing. No job. No girlfriend. No friends. My own mother barely looks at me. The only thing I have left is my weighted blanket. And it reminds me of you. I hope you're happy. Marcus. I read the letter 3 times. Then I put it in a drawer with the framed photo of me and my CrossFit team at the competition where I took 2nd place. I looked at both of them side by side. I was not happy. I was not sad. I was not anything. I took a picture of the letter and posted it on my private Instagram. Only my 6 closest friends friends could see it. The caption was, "He wrote me a letter." My friend Tessa replied, "Burn it." My friend Marcus, the other one, replied, "Frame it next to the cake-stained shirt." I did not burn it. I did not frame it. I put it back in the drawer. The next day, I closed a new consulting contract worth $40,000. I took my team out for drinks at a different speakeasy. The bartender asked what I wanted. I said, "A whiskey neat, and no champagne anywhere near me." The bartender laughed. I did not. I drank my whiskey. I paid the tab. I went home. I slept without the weighted blanket. I slept fine. NTA overall, but with one small note on how far things went afterward. Marcus acted very poorly at the party. Grabbing your hair and pushing your face into the cake was not okay, especially after you had clearly told him the year before that you disliked that kind of surprise. Spraying champagne in your face, breaking your phone, and then trying to stop you from calling for help made the situation much worse. Those actions crossed a line into physical harm and damage to your belongings. You had every right to feel unsafe and to call the police. Pressing charges for the assault and the destroyed phone was reasonable because there were many witnesses and evidence. His sister filming and then deleting the video after being pressured also showed the family was more worried about protecting him than being fair. The fact that a coworker mentioned seeing similar behavior before added to the picture that this was not a one-time joke. You defended yourself in the moment, and involving the authorities was the correct step when he would not stop. The only part where you went a bit too far. After the police handled the immediate situation and charges were filed, the public sharing and social media updates became very intense. Posting videos, sending them to larger accounts, and continuing to comment on his family's posts over many weeks turned the matter into a very public story. While you had the right to protect yourself and share your side with close friends or in court, the ongoing online attention likely caused extra pain for his family and made his job loss feel even more public. It might have been kinder to let the legal process finish quietly once he was held accountable, rather than keeping the spotlight on every family reaction. You were not wrong for wanting justice or for refusing to drop the charges when his lawyer and mother tried to persuade you. But the extended public side of things added more drama than was necessary after the main harm was already being addressed by the police and court. Final judgment. NTA for the party events and pressing charges. You protected yourself when someone physically mishandled you and damaged your property. Marcus created the mess with his choices. The legal outcome, guilty plea, probation, no contact, was fair. The small white TA note is only for how much the situation stayed in the public eye for weeks afterward. In the end, you handled the immediate danger well, moved forward with your own success, and even slept better without the weighted blanket. That shows strength. Marcus learned the hard way that actions have real results. You did not deserve what happened at your shared birthday celebration. Standing up for yourself was right. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Got a story to share? Drop it in the comments and let us know which one was your favorite.